Hey there fellow hobby enthusiasts, welcome back to NFIHammer, the channel where we explore the fascinating world of miniature painting and everything Warhammer 40k. I'm NFIHammer, and today's episode is a bit of a retrospective on some of the highlights, but also some of the lowlights in my first year in the hobby. Now let me tell you, it's been one heck of a journey. As someone who's relatively new to the scene, learning the ropes on my own, I've stumbled, fumbled, and yes, made my fair share of mistakes. But hey, that's all part of the fun, right? I've been learning the art of painting miniatures and diving into the vast lore of Warhammer 40k, as well as playing the tabletop for the very first time. And let me tell you, it's been an adventure filled with triumphs, and well, let's call them learning opportunities. Today I wanted to share with you 3 things that I wish I didn't buy, because trust me, I've had my fair share of regrettable purchases, but also 3 things that, as a newbie, I stumbled upon and absolutely loved. So whether you're a seasoned veteran or just starting out like me, stick around as we explore the hits and misses of my first year in the hobby. Now let's dive into the first item on my wish list that I wish I didn't buy. The Warhammer 10th Edition Leviathan Box. Oh boy, where do I begin with this one? When I got into the hobby, I was eager to get my hands on a rulebook, and this limited edition core rulebook seemed like the holy grail. Plus the mission pack included was just icing on the cake, because I really wanted to play my first game of Warhammer, and excitement was at an all-time high. So what went wrong? Well, it wasn't the rules or the mission pack, because those were fantastic. It enabled me to play against an Eldari army, and that's been really fun. Check out those videos if you're interested in checking out the battle reports. It wasn't the Space Marines that came in the box either. Now, they're super awesome, but I had my heart set on another faction, so fortunately I managed to sell the Space Marines off for more than half the cost of the box, so that part worked out great. Where the regret comes in is that I decided to keep the Tyranid army that came with the box as a secondary project. As you know, if you've watched this channel before, I'm really working on my Necron army. So fast forward several months and I've barely made a dent in painting the Tyranids. I've done 2 Tyranid Ripper Swarms and 1 Termagant to show for it. Meanwhile, I've got a small mountain of pile of shame with all my unpainted Tyranid models. Lesson learned the hard way. Taking on 2 armies, especially as a beginner, is a bit like trying to juggle chain swords. The paint schemes alone are different beasts, and there's just so much to learn. Painting a Necron versus painting a biological material is just so different. In hindsight, I should have just stuck with my Necrons and focused on honing my skills with one army before taking on the challenges of another. I also have the miniature of the month, so it doesn't get too boring, but that's completely free and you only have to worry about one model at a time, not the dozens that come in the Leviathan box. But hey, every hobbyist has their own journey, and mine involved learning the value of focus. Now let's switch gears to a purchase that brought me nothing but joy, and that is the Warhammer Imperium Magazine, in particular issue number 50. Talk about a gem in the hobby world. This one's a testament to the fact that not all purchases are created equal, and sometimes you stumble upon something truly special. So for a mere $20 dues, or $9.90 US, or £9, this magazine comes with not 1, not 2, but 5 incredible models. And let me tell you, these models are not just the run-of-the-mill minis, they're the fresh out of the Games Workshop molds, and they're a blast to build and paint. Well, most of them. I'm looking at you, Plasmancer. But hey, every family has its quirks, right? Beyond the sheer joy of just assembling and painting these models, they also were good on the tabletop. However, with the recent 10th edition codex changes, they're not as great as they were. but the Crypto Thrall and Canoptic Reanimator still are good tools to have in your toolbox, and for the price of these models, there's, no reason not to have these strategic assets that can help turn the tide of battle. I was actually so thrilled with this purchase that I dedicated an entire video to it, so if you're interested in diving deeper into why these models are fantastic, be sure to check out that video. I'll leave a link in the description below. Now let's talk about a purchase that seemed like a great idea at the time, but turned out to be a bit of a snag in my painting journey, and that's static grass. Yes, you heard me right, the seemingly innocent static grass. I picked up 2 different colours from an online hobby store thinking, hey, bigger is better, right? Wrong. So I opted for the larger 6mm static grass because, well, it was the same price as the smaller one, so it seemed like a no-brainer to get this larger size. Little did I know, bigger isn't always better, especially when you don't have the right tools at your disposal. And guess what? I didn't have a static grass applicator. Oops. Applying this stuff without the proper tools turned into be a little bit of a disaster. It looked more like a bad hair day than a lush field. Now, I did get a helpful tip from my local Games Workshop employee, shout out to them, suggesting I tip the model upside down after applying it to let gravity work its magic. And sure, it did improve the results, but it wasn't a game changer. As a beginner, I've come to realize that static grass without the right equipment can be a bit tricky to work with. It's not as forgiving as some other terrain options, and it requires a finesse that, let's be honest, I don't really have, or if I do, I'm still developing it. So in hindsight, would I buy static grass again? Probably not. As a beginner, I think there are more forgiving and beginner-friendly options out there. Lesson learned. Sometimes it's not just about the size, it's about having the right tools for the job. Now let's move to the next item on the list. Now this, on the other hand, has been an absolute game changer in my terrain and basing adventures. Grass Tufts. Unlike the static grass I just talked about, these little wonders are practically bulletproof, and in my case, idiot-proof. Peel, glue, and voila. It's that simple. No static applicator woes, no mess, just pure convenience. I can't emphasize enough how much I love these grass tufts. The process is straightforward. You just peel it off this bit of cardboard, you can add a bit of PVA glue, and you're done. It's like all the hard work has been done for you. And the best part is that there's an abundance of interesting colours, shapes, sizes to choose from. It's a terrain artist's dream come true. Now my personal favourite has to be this alien turquoise tuft from Gamergrass. It's been an absolute star in my Necron army. Adding these tufts to my Necron models give them an otherworldly and unique vibe with minimal effort. It's making each model stand out in a captivating way. My only regret is not having more of this stuff. Having some different colours to create a lush, overgrown effect like the alien flora has taken over. But you know what? Somehow the sparseness somehow communicates that it's a desolate nature of these tomb worlds, so in a way it kind of works and I'm not complaining too much. In the grand scheme of things, Grass Tufts has become my go-to for adding that extra touch to my models, and the variety they offer is just icing on the cake. If you're looking for an easy and effective way to elevate your basing game, as a beginner, Grass Tufts might just be your new best friend. Now let's tackle a topic that I'm sure many hobbyists can relate to, the regret of accumulating way too many paint. And when I say too many, I mean literally dozens and dozens. Yes, I've fallen into the trap of buying individual paint pots for specific colours, especially when I'm tackling a model of the month and it's like a one-off colour that I'll never use again. And let's face it, Games Workshop paints aren't exactly cheap. They can be upwards to $10 dues a pop. The result? Well, I've ended up with more paints than I know what to do with. It seemed like a good idea in the time, but in hindsight, I probably should have learnt and explored more in the world of colour mixing. Mixing my own shades would not only have saved me money, but also give me a better understanding of colour theory. Another thing I wish I'd considered is the packaging. Now don't get me wrong, I love the colours in the Game Workshop Citadel range, and painting my models to match the box art is always a joy for me. But these little pots can be a bit finicky, especially when you're in the zone. I've since come to appreciate the convenience of dropper bottles from other brands. They're so much easier to work with and less mess. You don't end up with that crusty layer of paint around the tops of the pots and then they don't shut properly, which is super frustrating. And then there's the matter of trying out different paint types. I just dove headfirst into the world of Citadel base layer and shade paints without giving much thought to contrast or speed paints. To be honest, I didn't even know it existed. In retrospect, I should have experimented with these options first before investing so much money in a massive collection of traditional paints. Lesson learned. Sometimes less is more. Quality over quantity, right? If I could turn back time, I'd probably opt for a more streamlined approach to my paint collection. Perhaps that try out different brands, explore color mixing, and try different paint types like contrast or speed paints. It's all part of the learning curve in this fantastic hobby, is that really there is no skill ceiling and it's just a continually learning experience. But now on to the next item that holds a special place in this journey. Now, let's shed some light on a product that might be not the flashiest or most exciting, but has truly made a world of difference in my hobby experience. A good quality painting light. Trust me, when it comes to creating your mini masterpiece, the right lighting can be a game changer. I picked up this gem from IKEA, the Landspelar, as I'm probably mispronouncing, and boy, has it been a game changer. Not only does it provide a reliable source of illumination, but it also comes with a handy phone holder that's been a lifesaver for recording these videos. Talk about multifunctional, am I right? The real eye-opener for me was when I went on vacation and I bought a small kit of painting supplies, and lo and behold, left my trusty painting light at home. It didn't fit. And let me tell you, it was like trying to paint in the dark. I couldn't see the details, I couldn't gauge the colors properly. It was a real struggle. I never realized how much of a difference good lighting makes until that moment when I went without it. Especially at nighttime painting, when after work I like to unwind before bed and try and get a couple of models done. When natural light isn't available, a high quality painting light becomes your best friend. It illuminates every nook and cranny, assuring you can see exactly what you're doing and whether your paint job looks as fantastic as you imagine it does in your mind. So here's a tip for all the beginners out there. Make sure you're painting in a well-lit area. It's a small investment, but it pays off big time in the long run. Whether you're examining the details of your minis or recording your painting process, a good quality light is a must-have tool in any hobbyist's arsenal. And there you have it, fellow hobbyists, a journey through the highs and lows of my first year in the miniature painting and Warhammer 40k world. So whether you're a seasoned painter or just starting out, I hope my experience and lessons resonated with you. It's all part of the journey, and with every regret there's an opportunity to grow. Share your own hits and misses in the comments below, and if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel out and helps the YouTube algorithm gods recommend my video to more beginners. Happy painting, and may your brushes always be steady. Till next time, goodbye.